Hello, students. Can you hear me now? Am I audible? Am I audible now? I hope I am audible today. Dear students, today, as far as your syllabus is concerned, I'm going to deal with another important text today, written by William Shakespeare, and that is entitled "As You Like It." Before I start with my lecture, I would like to give you a proper introduction about the drama. If you ask me what is drama, what you should know, if you ask me what is the difference between drama and novel, yesterday or day before yesterday in the first class of mine, as I told you before, drama there is no much difference because it always depends upon the reader's perspective. When we look into a drama where the real characters speak to us, where the real characters speak to us. There are many dramas which are written from olden days, and even today we read it, and we should understand few of the aspects of drama. That means when we hear the conversation between two characters are talking, we feel what their feelings are. Unlike the fiction we merely read the actual dialogues. That means it is a third person narration or the first person narration from that fiction or a novel. But whereas in drama we can hear the actual words of the speaker. We can even feel the emotions of the speaker. To come back to drama and Shakespearean period, William Shakespeare is one of the greatest writers in English literature. And he has written 37 plays and 154 sonnets. And most of his plays are very, very famous. He has taken from all the sections of life. Many of his dramas deal with tragedy, tragedy, comedy, historical plays. Tragedy means which ends with sadness. Comedy is which merely ends with comedy. Lots of comedy, comic scenes can be seen in throughout the play. And what are the few famous works of William Shakespeare? William Shakespeare, as I am telling you again and again, he has never gone to any university. He has written one of the best dramas or the plays in the English literature. He never had the intention that his plays would be read out or his plays would be taught at the university level. He thought that he wanted to earn his bread and butter for the family. Okay. He thought that after writing few of the aspects of life or producing few dramas, he thought that he would earn bread and butter for his life. Before he started writing, he was a screen puller. He was working in the theater as a normal human being. Why dramas were performed in those days? Today we have newspapers. Today we have all sorts of entertainment. Whatever we need, we Google through and we understand. But in those days, The means of entertainment was only the stage drama, and people used to come from different corners of the world to watch. And he had never had the intention that his dramas would be performed and his dramas or his plays would be read out in the at the university level. He wanted to earn his bread and butter. But later, because we find lots of grammatical errors in his plays, but we have to omit all these things and we have to concentrate what he intends to tell us. Most of his plays are As You Like It, The Tempest, The King, Richard II, Richard the First, Othello, Merchant of Venice, uh, Midsummer's Night Dream, King Lear, Macbeth. And most of his writings deal with about life. When we concentrate few of the dialogues, let me quote few of the dialogues which are very, very famous even today. And when you look into Merchant of Venice, there the conversation between Antonio and Bassanio. Thou love is the most precious things in my life. When we look into Macbeth there, after committing the murder, Lady Macbeth tells to herself in the sleepwalking scene, even the whole water of Arabia, the whole perfumes of Arabia cannot sweeten my little hands. He's the one who told us that the world is a stage where all the men and women all players. So let me come back to actual As You Like It. So there is one aspect where we need to study, and I'm going to tell you how to study. Excuse me. And I'm going to tell you how to study a drama. What are the things that one needs to concentrate while reading when he wants to write or even when he wants to appear for the examination? So, As You Like It is one of the greatest writings of William Wordsworth. As You Like It, look at the title of the text. Look at the title of the text. Let me briefly tell you what is the story is about and what are the things you need to concentrate. Students, am I audible? Students, am I audible to you? Please message me. Am I audible? Yeah, fine. This particular text was published in the year 1631. And there are many characters in this particular text, that is Orlando, Oliver, Rosalind, Duke Senior, Duke Frederick, Celia, Touchstone, Adam, Adram, that is the garden where few of the characters were sent. These are the few of the characters which you need to understand, which you need to keep it in your mind. Orlando is the hero of the story. Students, I'm not able to see any of the messages. Am I audible? Am I audible? Now I think I am audible now. So As I'm going to tell you how the plays of Shakespeare is going to tell us what are the important aspects of life and how you need to concentrate how Shakespeare has given more importance to his opening scenes, opening scenes. He has given more importance. Most of his plays open in the open area. Even when we look into Macbeth, and his plays open is the first scene takes place in the open area. Even in King Lear, even in the As You Like It, this particular scene opens with Orlando and Adam in a conversation in the open area. And you need to give more importance to the characters, the themes, and how Williams Shakespeare has given more importance to his narrative technique. Here, let me briefly tell you how the scene develops, how Williams Shakespeare has given more importance to his story, and how it develops, and how the scene moves from one place to the another place. As I told you before, the characters, few of the important characters here: Duke Frederick, Orlando, Rosalind, and all the characters, please keep it in your mind. As I keep on explaining you further and further, you will understand. And let us see the first scene, Act 1. The scene opens with Orlando and Adam in conversation. Orlando explains to Adam that his brother Oliver, please remember, Oliver is the brother of Adam, has done nothing to educate him. Remember Adam and Orlando. Adam is one of the servants of Orlando. And Adam tells Orlando that his own brother Oliver has done nothing to educate him. It goes against the gain of Orlando that the money left by his father should be always pocketed by his brother Oliver, that he should always be given no chance of self-improvement. Adam tells Orlando that his own brother Oliver has taken advantage of his life. The money which the father has given or the father has left behind is going to be taken away by his own brother named Orlando. That is the only reason why, by his brother Oliver, that is a reason why Orlando is not educated properly. Adam clearly tells Orlando about his brother Oliver, and he should be deprived. He has been deprived of education. Oliver, and he further tells that he should have been given no chance of self-improvement. His father's spirit gains to rise within him. He will no longer submit to it, yet he does not know how to get rid of it. And in the first, I'm giving more preference to the opening scenes of William Shakespeare and how the story develops from first scene to Act 5 of the last scene. And there are two brothers which are introduced to us. That is Orlando, Oliver, and one more character is Adam. So their conversation is interrupted by the entrance of Oliver. Oliver comes in the middle. He interrupts. It disturbs the scene. High words pass between the two brothers. And Orlando believes that his brother Oliver is going to cheat Orlando. And when he hears the conversation between these two, Adam and Oliver, Orlando, Oliver comes in the middle and he disturbs. There was a small quarrel between the two brothers. Between the two brothers. Orlando demands that his brother should give him the education suitable to his position. The first scene, if you have the textbook, students, is my sincere advice. Whenever a teacher teaches you, or whenever the lecturer gives you a talk on the particular text, you should have a textbook with you. Go through line number 15 to 16 there, where it just tells the first scene of first act. Orlando demands that his brother should give him the education and suitable to his position. Orlando doesn't want his brother, Oliver, to grab all the money left over by his father. In the course of the dispute, Oliver calls him a villain, and Orlando, stunned by the insult, lays violent hands upon him. When Orlando raises the question about his education, raises the question about his reputation, and there was a fight between two brothers, and there was an insult. Orlando is insulted by his brother, Oliver, and Orlando is stunned by the words. Orlando does not realize his brother until he promises to give him the part of his patrimony. Oliver does not even spare Adam, who calls it off. Even Adam is a servant there, and even he just scolds Adam there. Let us see how the story progresses from this perspective. In the first scene, where William Shakespeare introduced to us three of the characters here, two of the prominent characters, two brothers, Orlando, and another character is Oliver, and they start fighting with each other. After Orlando and Adam have left, Oliver calls servant Dennis, and Dennis then brings in Charles. Please remember, Charles is a wrestler. Oliver has heard that his brother is going to appear against Charles in a wrestling match. That means he just tells, kindly go against my brother and fight with him and try to kill him. Who just tells? Orlando just tells. Orlando is going to be defeated by Charles. That is, Oliver tells to the wrestler. Orlando is going to be facing the fight with Charles the wrestler. Now he wants to incite Charles so that Charles may not spare his brother. Charles has come to inform Oliver of his brother's purpose and requests him to dissuade Orlando from wrestling enterprise. And Charles doesn't want to fight, but Orlando wants to fight with his brother. Oliver wants Orlando to be defeated. That is the conversation which takes place between Charles and Oliver. Let us see whether the match is going to take place or no. He has come in good faith, but Oliver tells that the villains things about his brother and warns him against brother's own ways of doing. He doesn't want to fight with him, because Orlando is a faithful man and who can do lots of things. But Oliver wants only the defeat of his own brother. wants only the defeat of his own brother. Let us see. Since Charles is going to fight for his reputation, he will not. He promises Oliver spare his brother. Oliver gives him a hint that it does not matter even if his own brother is killed. Charles tries to convince his brother, Charles the wrestler tries to convince Oliver, kindly sort out the problems between you. But Oliver wants the fight to take place. Even if Charles kills Orlando, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Let us see. This is how the first scene ends. So the first scene is a keynote to the play. Keynote to the play. And why you need to concentrate the first scene of the play here? Here, Shakespeare has given lots of importance to the main characters here. Main characters are introduced to us. Let us move on to the second scene of the first act. This particular scene introduces us to Rosalind and Celia. Rosalind is downhearted, and she is also one of the main characters here, downhearted, and she has good reason to be so because her father is banished. Even her father is also banished from that particular country, and she is a soft-spoken girl. And Celia tries to convince Rosalind to be very calm and cool because she doesn't want her to be over emotion. She doesn't want to feel over emotion about the banishment of the father. Let us see. Here, one more character is introduced to us, that is Touchstone. Touchstone. It is a comic character here, which brings lots of comic scenes here. And Oliver, Orlando, Rosalind, and Celia. And these are the characters around whom the whole story revolves. Students, I tell you once again, whenever you want to enjoy a play written by Shakespeare, you must read the original text. Unless and until you read the original text, you will not be able to understand what is the intention of the writer. From your examination point of view, please go through the themes of the play, the introduction of the play, and what are the main characters of the play. There are many questions. I'm going to pause here for a moment. I'm going to tell you from your examination point of view. And what are the main themes and what are the main characters here and what are the, you may be asked a question, write a comparative study of Oliver and Orlando. And what is the role played by Adam in the story? And how Rosalind's role is very important in the play. So throughout the story, there are 5 acts here, and since I don't have the time to explain all the scenes here, since I explained the first scene, even the second scene there, Rosalind's father is banished from the country, and one more character is introduced to us, that is Celia. So how the story develops from many angle here, and let us see and how the story progresses. Let me read out few of the dialogues here. Just a minute, students. Students, am I audible? Students, am I audible? Yeah. Now, students, can you hear me? Sorry, lots of technical errors here due to network issue. And I'm going to tell you a few of the things where you need to concentrate, and few of the questions, probable questions you need to concentrate about the play. Because to teach William Shakespeare is quite difficult. As the students of English literature, you must read and you must understand each and every dialogues. Then only you will be able to understand. And I don't suggest you people to read the secondary sources available, and it is written in blank verse. Please go through the entire textbook once before you prepare for the examination. The story is not too much of complicated. Only the story, as I told you before, the story revolves around two or three major characters. And the comedy is less comedy of dramatic event than a playful, fantastic criticism of life discussed based on the play. And whenever you write, don't say that this particular play is written by William Shakespeare, blah, 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 blah. Don't give uh, all these things. And love at first sight is a motive of the play, where Rosalind falls in love with one of the main characters in the play. So that may be asked, and comment on the opening scene of the play. Comment on the opening scene of the play as you like it. Look at the title, As You Like It. This particular title is very, very apt and suitable to the play, As You Like It, because the story revolves around this particular theme. And another is, and what are the characters? What is the role played by Orlando? The comparative study of Orlando and Oliver. And what are the three distinct types of humor in this particular play, you need to concentrate about Touchstone, who always plays fool with all the characters here. To teach William Shakespeare, it takes more than 3 to 4 hours. But I'm here to summarize all the things here. And I have explained to you the first scene, the fight which is induced between two brothers, Oliver and Orlando. And Oliver just tells the wrestler to fight with him, and he wants his own brother to be killed. When he was told by Adam in the opening scene that he is not properly educated, and meanwhile he comes there and he has a long conversation with the brother. He has a long conversation with the brother where they are not happy with each other. That is a reason and why Charles is introduced by Oliver to have a big fight with him. So, and another aspect of the play is where you need to concentrate is I've taken down a few of the things there and illustrate from the play some of Shakespeare's hallucination and customs of the play and the manners of his age, and how Shakespeare tries to tell us the age of his own age, the lifestyle of his own age through this play, and compare and contrast the two characters, Celia and Rosalind, and compare and contrast another two characters, Touchstone and Jakes. Two of the main characters there, two of the main characters, that is comic characters, where you need to concentrate and justify the title of the play as you like it. To tell you one thing, many of the students, they just yesterday they called one of the students, they called me and asked me, "Sir, is it as an evaluator, do you expect a student to write about 6 to 7 pages for 10 marks? Quantity is not more important than quality. Quality of an answer is more important than the quantity. You can write hundreds of pages, but if it doesn't have any qualitative answer, we can't give you good marks, or it won't fetch you good marks. Even if you write a half a page or a quarter a page, it should have the stuff. It should have the content. If the question is asked about compare and contrast the two characters, Celia and Rosalind, if you write about Oliver and Orlando, and finally say that these two characters come in the life of these two brothers, if you write like this, you will not be given marks. Please read the questions that are set in the question paper and try to come out with a quality answer. I hope you know the meaning of quality and quantity. Qualitative answer for the question which is asked. Okay, and another important aspect where you need to concentrate here is in William Shakespeare's play, women always take the initiative. How far it is true as you like it. And William Shakespeare has given more importance to the women characters and how far it is true. And you have to justify. And I'm going to read out one of the students has written the answer for this question. In William Shakespeare's play, women always take the initiative. How far it is true in As You Like It? It is written in the question. Same question was asked in Kolkata University question paper. Just I'll read out. In this particular statement made above is true. That is to say, women always take the initiative in Shakespeare's plays. The reason is not psychological, but has something to do with the dramatic representation in the Shakespearean days. In fact, that is Shakespeare's days, women were not allowed to appear on the stage and the parts were played by the boys. Please remember, in those days, in during William Shakespearean days, women were not given much importance. And even women were not allowed to play on the stage. The women's part, the girls' role was played by the boys. And let us see. And there is nothing unseemingly if the boys playing in the parts of women are forward. This is partly the reason why Shakespeare's female characters are forward. Shakespeare did not evidently bother about the psychological reasons. In As You Like It, Rosalind, who plays the active part, and it is Orlando who plays the passive part. Remember, more action throughout this particular text, that is, As You Like It, Rosalind's part is always the most important one. Most important one. In the Victoria, when they meet first time, in their first meeting, when the wrestling match is going on and their love starts. Remember the wrestling match between Charles and Orlando. And who arranged it? His own brother, that is Oliver. When the wrestling match was going on, unfortunately, Orlando wins the match, but in the wrestling match, Orlando wins, and there the love episode or the love starts between Orlando and Rosalind. To the victorious Orlando, Rosalind offers her necklace. When there, the first scene itself, the second scene is first scene or second scene there, where Rosalind, when she sees that Orlando wins that particular match there, and she gives the necklace to him, necklace to him as a gift. But Orlando has nothing to say in return, not even bare or formal thanks to give. When going back with Celia, Rosalind presents Orlando is calling, when there the scene is taking place there, and Orlando is calling her back when the match is over, and he calls her back and tells, so she comes along with Orlando, but she can get only the word out of him and is tongue-tied. So Rosalind takes initiative. It is Rosalind who first realizes that she is in love with Orlando, but Orlando, who is a duller in perception with Rosalind, takes a little longer to realize. And even with all the characters, there are romances there, and the love episodes which develop from different characters there, and women who take lots of initiative. So that's how you need to write. And another question you may be asked is the justify the title. Why I'm giving more preference to the title is, and how the play develops from one part to the another part. You need to concentrate. So there is in the first semester, there is a paper for you, that is a Shakespearean paper. Students, as I tell you, unless and until you have the passion towards William Shakespeare's dramas, you will not be able to understand and how you must read and write and prepare for the examination. And there are lots of videos which are uploaded on the YouTube you can go through. If you type film as you like it or the videos related to that as you like it, you can see. But when you read a play, you will be able to understand more and more. As a reader of English, as a lover of English literature, we should have that passion towards a particular text. I don't recommend you people to go through the secondary materials. Please read through. This is the text there as you like it. Please go through the entire text. It is divided into 5 acts, and how the scene develops from act 1, scene 1 to the act 5 and the last scene. And even William Shakespeare has given lots of importance to his ending of the scenes and how the play ends, and what is the importance of the ending of the ending scene of As You Like It, written by William Shakespeare. And this is how you need to concentrate, and every story has got a background. Please clearly understand what is the background of the story. Background of the story. Yeah, women. That's what there is a question here. Yeah. William Shakespeare has given lots of importance to women characters here. Yeah. Where William Shakespeare has borrowed his source from. And what is William Shakespeare's philosophy to the readers through this play? Remember, students, he hasn't written any of the plays without any moral to the story or without any message to the readers. Every textbook in English literature has a moral and a message to the readers to be left out or to leave behind. As I told you before, William Shakespeare hasn't written anything for the future generation to read. He has written to live or lead his own life. But the readers or the people who just found lots of things in the plays of William Shakespeare are introduced at the university level. Even today, 2023 batch of Karnataka State Open University of first semester students are studying. Even if 100 or 200, 300 years comes, it is very difficult to completely understand William Shakespeare. As I told you, William Shakespeare hasn't gone to any of the university to study. Yes, got only the formal education. But 37 plays, 153 sonnets he has written. The two, many of them are famous. Romeo Juliet, Macbeth, As You Like It, Merchant of Venice, Richard II, and a few more. Othello, that is one of my favorite plays of William Shakespeare, Othello. So I don't ask you people to go through the entire writings of complete works of William Shakespeare. But if you want to understand about William Shakespeare, please go through the entire, maybe major works of William Shakespeare, then come to As You Like It play. Play should be read out, not to be read out. Play should be read out from your own heart, not to be seen on the television. Each and every dialogues in the play should be read out. Then only you will be able to understand. Then only you will be able to answer the questions. Yeah. Students, do you have any questions to ask? Students, do you have any questions to ask? Please ask me if there is any question. And the importance of Shakespeare's characterization, and how William Shakespeare has given more importance to his characters. And even many of the characters are even alive today. Celia, Orlando, Oliver, Romeo, Juliet, Macbeth, Antonio, Bassanio, Moore, Cleopatra, Antonio, all the characters are even alive today. When we just talk about Romeo and Juliet, the romance. And even many of the famous dialogues of William Shakespeare echoes in our ear. World is a stage where all the men and women are players. The whole perfumes of Arabia cannot sweeten my little hands, Lady Macbeth tells after killing Duncan. So you should enjoy each and every dialogues of William Shakespeare instead of reading for the sake of examination. Please go through the entire text once again and prepare well for the examination. And later in the class, we will try to discuss few of the important texts for your first semester. Students, do you have any questions to ask? Students, do you have any questions to ask? Please ask me. Otherwise, we will wind up. I've got one more class to do with the second semester. Thank you, students. Yeah, I told you how to study drama. That's what the message here. You should read the entire text, the original text first. Original text first. Maybe the dialogues between the two characters or among the characters. And just make few of the points there. Few of the points there. Who talks to him, whom, what he talks. It is like understanding a text there. When you there is a lots of difference between reading a drama and a fiction there. Fiction is one first person narration or second person narration. But whereas the drama where we actually hear the dialogues of the writers or dialogues of the speaker. So go through all the dialogues. Like in a movie, what we see, a hero is talking to a heroine or a heroine is talking to the villain is talking to the parent. So we remember like this. You should remember each and every dialogue and make few of the points there so that it will help you to write good in your examination. Thank you, students. We'll meet you tomorrow.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon to this afternoon session. So, in the previous session, the morning session, I was, discussing. We were discussing Geoffrey Chaucer's *The Canterbury Tales*. I mean, the general prologue. So, we understood the purpose. What is the purpose behind? What is the purpose behind? This all the pilgrims are undertaking a journey. Can anyone reply why, what is the purpose behind, so that I'll understand? Yes, you have the prior knowledge, of yes of in the previous class, to understand this connection in the present session. So you all know that the entire 14th century England was suffering from the plague disease, that's black death. That very extensive description is given in your study material, in SLM, self learning material. You can go through. So in order to cure the disease, all the sect of division of people, almost 29 pilgrims, they are in one platform. They set a journey towards, what is that, towards the holy shrine, where Thomas Becket grave is there. They're going to take the blessing from the martyr, because he died for the people's sake. So that is a purpose. That is a purpose behind the general prologue. So there, in the morning, I have describing all the important characters. Probably, all the 29 characters are not will not be described in this class. So I prefer the few important characters, and I describe. So apart from that, there is one purpose. The Chaucer made the best use of this occasion. So Chaucer, he is using this as a the best occasion to depict a cross section, the different section of is contemporary society during the 14th century society. So here Chaucer deliberately gives us a detailed picture of each pilgrim, so that is important. So he's giving us the details of each pilgrim. So in the morning session, so we come to know many, the character, I mean the pilgrims. So with all his her characteristic countenance, he has an eye for detail and describes them with a subtle sense of irony and humor. So he's not just mere So what happened? Some of you, don't send unnecessary message. This is a class going on. So there'll be no special. There is no particular WhatsApp group for the MS students. The only group that you have, in your through bulk messages, you get your message, and the university website platform, is the source of information for you. And because in the department we have more than 5,000 students, so probably, creating a WhatsApp group could be difficult. So, leaving aside this issue, the message that you have been drafting, but university, they always updates in the website the information that you can get. Otherwise, you can always contact the faculties of the department. So this is one thing. So I'm glad if you put any doubts regarding the text, apart from the this no general detail, no general conversation. Okay, that's fine. So I was telling this. So he has an eye for detail and describe with a subtle sense of humor and irony. So we understand there is a use of irony and the humor in in his narration. So in the morning we were discussing this character, that is the clerk of Oxford. So what is the scholar? What is the general traits of this? The clerk, Oxford, the clerk. So the clerk normally meant a scholar or an educated person. Here, the clerk is a university student. In a general sense, you understand that he's an educated person, but here the clerk is a university preparing for his priesthood. Okay, he's the clerk, a university student, and preparing for the priesthood. And the association of learning and the church in medieval times is evident in this portrait. So we understand, how this association of learning and the church, through this character, we understand. So the clerk long devoted himself to the study of logic. So what is the specialty of this clerk? The specialty is he devoted himself to the study of logic. So he studies logic, an important part of academic life. And Aristotle was one of the great authorities in Charles's time. So Aristotle was one of the great authorities in Charles's time, who was known for his knowledge and erudition. So, what happens here? The influence of his moral philosophy was predominated in medieval universities. So, in a way, his influence, his moral philosophy, the Aristotle philosophy, in a way, it's become very predominant in the medieval universities, especially in Oxford and the Cambridge. So, in this way, we come to know the reference of Oxford and the Cambridge, in this character, that is Oxford of Clark. So you have one telegram group, dear student, to the where you can get your information and all that. So that you should keep remember. But we have a large number of students. There are more than 6,000 students in the department studying MA English. So creating WhatsApp group will not be difficult. It will be very difficult. So leave the idea of that. So after that, what is special about this character? So he received help from his friends. He is ever grateful to those who helped him. So through this character, we understand this man is a very much obedient. He remembers, his he took help from his people, from his friends. It is a moral quality of an individual. So in a way, the Oxford clerk has some moral, some ethics in his conduct and mannerisms, because he is inculcated that remembering, to be grateful to somebody's help. So it's a moral quality. He's a poor and humbly dressed. So the moment Chaucer look at this person, he appears a very poor and a humbly dressed. So another important quality of Oxford is the Oxford scholar is a contrast to the worldly prosperity of merchant class. So the merchant class was so prosperous, whereas the clerk, he was very simple and very humble and amicable. And he represent the ancient traditions of scholarship and learning. This is very, very important. You people have to write it in your exam. The moment we talk about the Oxford clerk, you have to say that he represents the ancient tradition of scholarship and learning. His ideals of high sentiments and moral earnestness are juxtaposed with his disregard for worldly wealth. So he does not, he's not the one who after the worldly wealth or a pleasure. He's happy with his, simplicity and a simple living. So the clerk is worthy of respect in the best sense for his sincerity and integrity. Sorry. So this clerk is a worthy of respect in the best sense for his sincerity and integrity. So after that, there is another character called sergeant at law. So I'm just skipping some character, and you have the Franklin, and then this you can read it in the study material, and the five guildsmen. There are five more pilgrims as a group are introduced. They are, haberdasher, the carpenter, the weaver, the dyer, and other characters. So they're called as a guildsmen. So they're the five member. After that, we have a cook and leaving aside, and there is another man called the shipman. Let me say something about this person. The shipman. He's a sailor from the west country. He knows all about the winds and tides. He's very much understood the ripples, the ಏರಿಳಿತಗಳು ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, the ripples, the ripples of this winds and the tides. And because he's a sailor, because he's a professional sailor, he knows and everything. And every harbor from Gotland to the Finisterre, he has an easy conscience. He takes a slight draught from his employers the wine casks. After a sea fight, he sends his prisoners home by water. He lives a hard and dangerous life. So, because we know that the life of the sea is not so simple, it is filled with a hard and dangerous life. So, the shipman, he also joined this group. He is also there for this trip. And sea life is a very dangerous. Attacks were common in those days. The shipman would throw his prisoners overboard. So that we come across about the shipman, and we have another character that is, the doctor. Let me talk about the doctor of physics. So this doctor is a very skillful practitioner, And then he's thoroughly grounded in a medicine and surgery. He was a well expert in medicine and surgery as well as in astrology. Not only in this field, he's also well versed in astrology. And he made friends with he has this kind of sociable attitude. He's a man of sociable and he's a sensible character. And he knows the writings of all great masters of medicine, but his study was but little in Bible. But he doesn't know much about the Bible. But this man was completely mastered about the medicine, a thorough professionalist. His knowledge taught him to regulate his diet. He's richly dressed. So, being a doctor, he's richly dressed in gold. He takes a professional interest in a double sense. And a knowledge of astronomy. So, he studied the patient favorable planet to prepare charms and talisman. Not only through this treatment, he also knows the astronomy, and the favorable planet. He tells about him, the favorable planets of his patient he is well aware of, and prepare charms and talisman. That also he does. His prophet shows how medicine was practiced more for money than for service. So he gives a good service to the patient, but he also charges a lot of money. So he's the important character here. So another a very very important character that we have here is the wife of Bath. The wife of Bath is a very important character. So I tell all of you to listen it very carefully. So the wife of Bath is a type of the coarse woman of a lower middle class in Chaucer time. So she's you know she belongs to a lower middle class, and then she wears a very skillful cloth, the neat cloths. She rides comfortably on an amber. She was wedded five husbands. She married five times. She has a five husbands. Unrivaled in cloth making. She's a great stickler for her dignity and rights for presence in church. So she's very good at the cloth making. She's married five times, and she's expertising the cloth making. After that, after that, another important issue about the wife of Bath is the wife of Bath has bold feature. She's attractive as well as outspoken. She's slightly deaf and gap toothed. So she's a slightly deaf and she's a gap toothed lady, and she speaks so much. And she wears a red riding shirt, expensive footwear. So this is this is how Geoffrey Chaucer he described this woman. And then she has a handkerchief. Her handkerchief are a fine texture, since she was skillful in cloth making. Since she was very good at cloth making, she's wearing, she has that fine texture in a handkerchief because she is well versed in skillful in cloth making, surpassing others in the trade. She wears a headgear inordinately large and elaborate common during the time. She talks loudly. She talks more than she listens. So here, Geoffrey Chaucer gives a very comic touch. How does he say here? She talks loudly and she talks more than she listens. She was not at all a good listener, but rather she was a good speaker. That is about wife of Bath. So another interesting factor, about wife of Bath, the wife of Bath went to the church rather regularly. She visited church regularly on Sunday congregation, and she should be the first to make an offer. She always comes first to this church and put her prayers. And if anyone did it before her, she would be out of charity. That is the practice that she has. She always makes sure that she could be the first one to do that practice. And though the church disapproved of remarriage, she has married five times. So there was no allow. Though she was not supposed to marry more times, but she has married five times. In addition to her flirtations when she was young, she knows all the tricks of the old game of love. She was a little flirtatious, and she has traveled widely. Apart from the knight, she is the only pilgrim who knows a great deal of wandering. Because knight is the one who wanders lot many places, but apart from him, and she's the one lady, and she traveled widely. And she went on a pilgrimage to Jerusalem thrice. She had been to travel, so apart from night, she is the one who extensively traveled. So how can we say that? She went on pilgrimage to Jerusalem thrice. And then she had been to the shrine of Saint James, the apostle in Spain, to the shrine of the three wise men in Cologne, and to the Church of Virgin, the Mary in Yes, it got connect again. So there was an internet problem. So what happened? So in the fragment of a description, Chaucer, how does he put an end to her? He says that Chaucer does not specify whether she had been to with a lot of devotion or with enjoyment. This is how he put a comic, picture when he described wife of Bath. So our vibrant presence is a challenge to the monastic world with a distrust women of sensual vitality. So, our vibrant presence is a challenge to the monastic world, which distrust women of sensual vitality. So, there is a question: does she belong to this religious, the group? Because our devotion to the God, it is still skeptical. It is still, we need to think about it. And now, after that, a scene against the Christian ideals of the Middle Ages, she may be found the wanting in virtues, her attractive disposition, her martial adventures, her loquacious behavior in the sense very much talkative, and other social accomplishment speak of her energetic participation in life, which is obviously admired by Chaza. But when you think about the holistic, in general, the wife of Bath, she appeared to be a very, very vibrant and very energetic participation in this group. After that, we have a parson. So, what is the very special about the parson? So, the parson is an embodiment of all that clergyman should be. So he's a true embodiment. Who? The parson. However, the a clergyman is supposed to be. So this man, he maintains all that standard. He fulfills all the standards of to be a man with some principles. So he's a priest of spiritual virtue. Who? The parson. Parson. So after Oxford the clerk, and after this shipment, and after the wife of Bath, and we have another important character, that is the parson. The parson is the one is a very important character. So the parson is an embodiment of all that a clergyman should be. He's a priest of spiritual virtue. So he has the traits. And then who is placed next to the person of worldliness in the wife of Bath: simplicity, unselfishness, honest, and learning. So he was placed before the wife of Bath, and this man is known for simplicity, unselfishness, and honest learning. So open-handed charity. He always give a charity, which means that he is there to devote more for the people than for himself. So he's always there. He's a very much benevolent man for the way if you branded him so. An untiring devotion to his flock or some of his virtue as a priest. So, as a priest, he keeps all his principles. So, he sought to draw people to a better life by example and kindliness. So, this is another important traits of this character. So, he cared not for worldly pomp, but to taught a gospels of Christ. I think among all the character, he's the only one who appears to be that he cared not for worldly pomp. Pomp in the sense the pompous life, the grand lifestyle. He's not for that, but taught the gospels of Christ. But here is a man who always talks about the gospels of Jesus Christ, and his apostles and followed in himself, and he's an ideal representative of the secular clergy. He's an ideal representative of secular clergy. And here the charger exposed him in a better sense person. So further, how does he prolong his description? He will visit the sick or trouble the parishioners. Though his parish was wide, he did not hire a substitute to perform his parish duties. Though he's a single man, and he did not take anyone's help, but he himself does all the work. The parson is a poor but rich in holy thoughts and deeds. So this is a very important about him. So this parson is a very much poor. He's rich in holy thoughts and deeds, and he's never harsh or overbearing in his attitude. He was never harsh or overbearing in his attitude. He remained calm and unruffled even times of adversity. ಕೆಟ್ಟ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ, even at the time of the bad times, this man, he is very calm and unruffled. He was very sturdy. I mean, he was very firm about his decision, and he would never go the panicky, and he would manage the time very well. And his whole concern is to attract people to the church by gentle methods and by his own example. So he does not expect any reward or respect from other people. Another very important about this person is, he does not expect any reward or a respect from any people or other people. The Paris people would look up him not only as a spiritual leader, but as a man of learning who would, instruct and guide them, in the proper direction. So this is an appreciation to this person. What is that? The entire people of Paris, the Paris in the sense, the whole, the, what do you call as the pastoral, the folk, the people, they always, treat him as a spiritual leader, but as a man of learning who would instruct and guide them in the proper direction. So this man is an epitome, is an embodiment of, the goodness. So before teaching others, he will be the first to follow the teachings. So first he would learn first, then he would teach to people. It is a commendable aspects of his character. So here we could understand the Geoffrey Chaucer while looking at all the 29 pilgrims. He keeps this person in a higher regard because he glorifies him and he keeps him a higher regard. It is commendable aspects of his character as a contrast to the corrupt men of religion, because whoever we come across, the people who are very corrupt, look, for example, there are many religious groups I've discussed in the morning because they were not following the monastic life, the sacred duty, they were not following it. Whereas, as a contrast to the corrupt men of religion, Chaucer portrays a true and a pious in the person in of the town. ಒಬ್ಬ ಧರ್ಮ ಭಕ್ತಿಯುಳ್ಳ ಒಬ್ಬ ಸತ್ಯ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನ ನಾವು ಚಾಸರ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಈ ಪಾರ್ಸನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣ್ತೀವಿ. ಅಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಪರ್ಹ್ಯಾಪ್ಸ್ ರಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ದ ಪಾಯಿಟ್ಸ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲರ್ಜಿ ಮ್ಯಾನ್. So according to Geoffrey Chaucer, he happens to be the idea of a perfect clergyman. ಒಬ್ಬ ಕ್ಲರ್ಜಿ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಹೇಗಿರಬೇಕು, ದ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಹಿ ಡಿಸರ್ವ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ದ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟೀಸ್, he fulfills all the qualities. So according to Geoffrey Chaucer, this man, the parson, is a perfect clergyman of the medieval period of the 14th century English society. So he is the only representative of the church whom Chaucer admires. He's the only person who Chaucer admires, And then, like the knight, because the knight was also appreciated by Chaucer, he was appreciated. The parson is perhaps an idealization of all that is best in the church. So, what is that? So, like the knight, the parson is perhaps an idealization of all that is best in the church. So now we understand that, among all the character, the parson happens to be the very good person. So we have, the plowman. The plowman. The next is a plowman. The plowman is the brother of the parson. So let's see how the plowman is there. Whether he's a contrast to his brother, otherwise is he the same like his brother. So the parson is an honest laborer seen against the corrupt upper class. So like his brother, this man also, he witnessed this corrupt in the upper class society. He could find the corrupt in the upper class society, and he's an honest laborer. He's like his brother. He loves God with his whole heart and his neighbor as himself. So he loves for God with his whole heart and his neighbor as himself. So he prays God with the whole heart. For example, if you ask a question on describe the people the Charger appreciates in the entire journey towards Canterbury, in the prologue, you need to also talk about these good characters. However, that I described so far, so both the good and the bad characters, that you could say find in this character. So he is a good person. He passes his life in a toil and penury. Toil in the sense, ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು ದುಡಿಯೋದು, ಶ್ರಮಜೀವಿಯವನು. ಯಾರು? The plowman. PLOUGHMAN. He is a man with a toil, ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು ದುಡಿತಾನೆ. And then he's a penury. Penury in the sense, ಒಂದು ಬಡತನ ಕೂಡ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. The that what you call the poverty, destitute. So there is also poor, but he never grudges his help to other poor men. ಅವನು ತನ್ನ ಬಡತನದಲ್ಲಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಪ್ರೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ಇಟ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವನು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಮುಂದೆ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ. ಬಟ್ he never grudges in the sense like he would never the grudge and grumble. He will never say no, I don't do that. He said yes, I'll do it. I'll just try to do my better help to his, as much as possible. So he never grudges his help to other poor men. He never grudges his help to the other poor men, and he promptly pays his he promptly tried to help these people. He's very modest and humbly dressed. He looks very modest and he looks very humble. So, further, he exemplifies all that is the best in a layman. ಲೇಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಸಾಧಾರಣ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ, ಒಬ್ಬ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕಾದಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಸಿಂಪ್ಲಿಸಿಟಿ, ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟೀಸ್ಗೆ ಇವನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಏನಾಗ್ತೇನೆ, ಇಸ್ ಅನ್ ಎಪಿಟೋಮ್. He exemplifies all that is best in a layman. So the plowman is appreciated by Jeffrey Chaucer. So he is like his own the brother. The plowman, like his brother, comes from a poor family. Perhaps he owns a small piece of land. He has a small piece of land. He does work skillfully. ತುಂಬಾ ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ದ ಪ್ಲೋಯಿಂಗ್, ದುಡಿಮೆ ಅವನ ಒಂದು ಕಸಬಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ದ ಪ್ಲೋಯಿಂಗ್, ಥ್ರೆಶಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೂರಿಂಗ್ ದ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ವರ್ಕ್. They require great patience and skill, because plowing is not so simple. It requires a great strength, that we could sense, and we know that. So they require great patience and skills, and suitable to his work, the plowman wears a sleeveless jacket, almost like a farmer, and his garments and his riding horse are indicative of his humility. ಹ್ಯುಮಿಲಿಟಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅವನು ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ವಿನಮ್ರವಾಗಿ ಇದ್ದಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ. ಇನ್ ಅ ವೇ ಜೆಫ್ರಿ ಚಾಸರ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಗ್ಲೋರಿಫೈಸ್, ಐಡಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಗ್ಲೋರಿಫೈಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್, ದ ಪ್ಲೋಮ್ಯಾನ್. The plowman who toils a lot and who is always a help to the people, and is ready to learn things and do things in a different way and skillfully. So that is another good qualities of this parson. So both the parson and the plowman. So the plowman is a sincere Christian, is a very sincere, humble Christian. He represents the Christian ideals among the peasants. ಪಿಸೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವೇನು ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಂತಹ ಒಂದು 14ನೇ ಶತಮಾನದ ಒಂದು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ, this people, the peasant, the plowman, this plowman, the peasants, they are, the peasants, they had, some sort of, ideal qualities. Both the plowman and his brother. So the plowman is a sincere, humble Christian. He represents the Christian ideal among the peasants, among the farmers. And just as purely as the parson does among the clergy, like the way the parson does among the clergy, the way he preaches people, the way he helps the needy, in the same way, his brother, both the parson and the plowman live up to the ideal of Christian charity. Bosha, after we read the entire the gender prologue, these two characters, they will certainly haunt. ಪ್ರಾಬಬ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಇವರ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಇಷ್ಟವಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇ ಅಪಿಯರ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಅ ಮಿಯರ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಟಿವ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ದ 14th century, the British society of farmers and the peasants. And both the parson and the plowman, live up to the ideals of Christian charity, and they escape Chaucer's criticism and ridicule. Thank God. Chaucer ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ single moment, in a single line, he commented or or a ridicule. ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ವಿಡಂಬನ ಮಾಡೋದಾಗ್ಲಿ, ವಿಮರ್ಶೆ ಮಾಡೋದಾಗ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ he always keeps them in a higher regard. Okay, there we understand, this both the plowman and the parson, they appear to be a very good person. So the next important character we have, it is the miller. Miller is a very browny and the big in size, was a plumpy man. He wears a broad red beard, and then his wide nostrils are like the black caverns. He has a very wide nostrils, and then his mouth is like a furnace. He speaks very loudly, and he's so plumpy. He's a fond of scandalous tales. ಅವನಿಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಈ ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾಂಡಲಸ್ ಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಕಂಡ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತಿದ್ದಂತೆ. ಯಾರು? ದ ಮಿಲ್ಲರ್. That's how definitely Chaucer. Look at that, every character very much distinct in their description. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬರಿಗಿಂತ ಒಬ್ಬರು ವಿಭಿನ್ನವಾಗಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಭಿನ್ನವಾಗಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾರೆ ನಮಗೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್, ದ ಮಿಲ್ಲರ್, he speaks loudly, he is fond of scandalous tales. So we could also see these kind of characters in day-to-day lives, and he's dressed in a white coat and a blue hood. So this is his attire, and the miller, um, he could play the bagpipes and attract the pilgrims out of town. He's no more honest than others of his trade. So he's also not a very honest person compared to other people. And the miller is a he would break a door open by charging at it. He drinks and eats voraciously. So he eats voraciously. That is his another traits. He extracts a golden profit out of everything. So he always try to get the best out of everything. So that is his another the quality of this person. And the proverbial saying is, worth the miller's thumb, yet for all his cheating an honest miller will be a rare as a thumb of gold. This seems to be the meaning of golden thumb. So this man, he tried to get the best out of everything. So this is what we come across in Miller. And we have a Mancipal, another character. Chaucer, he doesn't glorify much about him. He's a very sharp dealer, and then he lot of money by cooking and accounts. He buys a cheap or in a credit and makes a huge profit for himself. So here is a man called Mancipal, because he always buy things in a cheaper price and he sells it. Absolutely we can understand he's a man with the money minded. He's an unpleasant character. Chaucer uses irony in depicting his character. Chaucer also uses the irony in depicting this character. So after that, I'm not going to describe any other character. I'm just leaving for you to study in your study material. And we have a Reeves, and we have a Summoner. I described all the major characters, and we have the partner, and other characters are here. Let me. I think I must tell something about the partner, because he doesn't appear to be a important character. So what happens now? The Chaucer's defense. So what Chaucer tells about all these characters now. So here in the last the paragraph. So I am in the almost faggot of this text. So here what Chaucer tells. So what is the Chaucer tells in common? So Chaucer defends his art of portrayal. For example, there will be one question for the exam point of view. What is the question? Discuss the art of portrayal of Geoffrey Chaucer's, the general prologue. Then you have to write all these things using the vision and an inward eye as a critic. So listen, Chaucer defends his art of portrayal. How does Chaucer defend his art of portrayal? He speaks plainly, which is not due to lack of his breeding, but he wishes to tell his tale truthfully without inventing. He says that he is not going to invent anything. He's just telling the factual things, how these character they appear as it is. So he's not cooked up any character. He told the right thing about this all the character, and his characters, they are the lifelike representation. ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಕಾಲ್ಪನಿಕವಾದಂಥ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ತರ ನಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲೂ ಕಾಣಲಿಲ್ಲ, isn't it? They appeared more like a lifelike, flesh and blood character that you could sense now. His characters and produced from the words of some real characters whom he has met, in this case of pilgrims themselves. So his description about this character appeared to us as though he has met and had a conversation in that sense. So now there is one person called host. I must tell something about the host. So he is the one. He's a free man with a goodly presence, a bright glance, and a tongue. Bold tongue. His good humor sets all his guests at their ease. And I told you he's the one who welcomes all the pilgrims, and and he's the one who tells all the characters, who tells the better tales will get the supper, and that is a reward, he says. And he's the one who gathers all the people in the Tabardin. I think that's the reason why a Dryden remarked, the Dryden, he tells, here is a God's plenty. Here is a God's plenty, because we could see all the varieties of character. For example, look at that. The pilgrims belong to several groups. They belong to several groups, and there is a clear sense of class, a consciousness in the rank they hold. ಇದು ನೀವು ತುಂಬಾ ನೆನಪಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾದಂತ ವಿಚಾರ. ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, these pilgrims, they belong to a several groups, and there is a clear sense of class consciousness. So, whomever we come across, whomever we have studied, we do understand they belong to a different sect of society. That you remember that. So there is a clear sense of class consciousness. So in the rank they hold, and in the language they speak, and the tale they tell, the pilgrim would has the pilgrim, the world as a fighting group of knight, the square, and yeoman. So the pilgrim world has the people like the knight, the square, yeoman, the doctor physic, Oxford the clerk, and all the people. Everybody they belong to the different world. So here, the world of chivalry, of politics, the trade, and religion. So all the people we could see here. So this is how Geoffrey Chaucer, he winds up his entire general prologue. So I'm going to wind up the text by telling the last criticism. What is the criticism? The entire general prologue is the concise portrait of an entire nation. So the general prologue, it is a concise, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಸಂಕ್ಷಿಪ್ತವಾದಂಥ ಒಂದು microcosm of the entire world, the microcosm of the British society, and concise portrait of an entire nation. And then the male or a female, the learned or the ignorant people, and this contradictory, we can see that. So apart from stunning clarity, touched with the nuances ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರಿರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ವೈಶಿಷ್ಟ್ಯತೆಯನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಜೆಫ್ರಿ ಚಾಸರ್ he described. And the most noticeable thing about their normality, they are the perennial progeny of men and women. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಶಾಶ್ವತವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಉಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂತ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಗಳು. ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಿ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಯು ರೀಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಲಾಗ್, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಹೌ ದೀಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಮಚ್ ಟ್ರೂ ಟು their nature. So this is all about the Canterbury Tales. So dear student, and so far I taught you, I think there are texts like the Geoffrey Canterbury Tales and Prologue, and then the Dr. Faustus. And I have touched upon the three papers so far. That is, English literature from Chaucer to Milton. I have taken a couple of texts, and the next paper, that is Shakespeare, that I will take up in my further class. And I also discuss this text, the Epilogue. And then tomorrow I'll give an introduction to A.C. Bradley's text, that is the substance of Shakespearean tragedy. Shakespearean tragedy by A.C. Bradley. It is there in the paper 4, that is Shakespearean sonnets and criticism. So I want to discuss that text with you people today. And now it is we have still time around 15 minutes. I try to give you a general introduction about the Shakespearean tragedies and of AC Bradley. What AC Bradley talks about in this entire criticism. So far you studied a play, you studied in a poem, you studied you know a narrative poem, but now you're studying a criticism. What do you mean by criticism? Criticism andre ಏನು? A criticism which has a judicious, a didactic opinion about any piece of literary text. I use the word didactic, which instruct some moral and ethic, and judicious ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಒಂದು ಸತ್ಯಬದ್ಧವಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಲೀಗಲಿ ನ್ಯಾಯಬದ್ಧವಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ವಿಮರ್ಶೆ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ this criticism as does it have a positive or a negative aspects? It's not that. It's not the whether the positive or a negative. The criticism is a criticism which has a true approach in it. For example, what Geoffrey Chaucer criticized in the entire prologue, it is a judicious criticism because he just described the true nature of those people. In the same way, criticism it is built on this concept called judicious as well as didactic approach. So criticism it is there to construct some information. ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸಮಜಾಯಿಸಿ ಒಂದು ವಿಶೇಷವನ್ನ, ಒಂದು ಪರಿಪಕ್ವವಾದಂಥ ಒಂದು ವಿಷಯವನ್ನ, ವಿಮರ್ಶೆಯನ್ನ ಕೊಡುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಭಾಗವೇ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸಿಸಮ್. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಸಿ ಹೌ AC Bradley he's approaches, he criticizes the Shakespearean text. So here, when you talk about AC Bradley's the Shakespearean tragedy, as absolutely we think about Shakespearean plays. Yes, interpreting analysis of the text. It is not just an analysis. You can say it's an interpretation. Interpretation. It is your own viewpoint, your own opinion, but criticism. It is beyond that. I told you there are ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಒಂದು consensuous ಆಗಿ ಒಂದು reciprocal, what you say, yes, what you said, that's true ಅನ್ನೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ this is consensuously criticized, or ಅಂದ್ರೆ you're telling the things as it is, whether it could be negative or a positive, what it deserves. Okay, so that's the reason why I use the word it is judiciously criticized. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ನ್ಯಾಯಬದ್ಧವಾಗಿ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ವಿಮರ್ಶಾತ್ಮಕ ಒಂದು ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟೇಷನ್. ಎಸ್. So now here, Shakespeare, I mean AC Bradley, in his Shakespearean tragedy, he discusses four important tragedies of Shakespeare. One is Othello, and Hamlet, and then King Lear, and Macbeth, and we have another text that is Julius Caesar. So here, Shakespeare, AC Bradley, he talks about these four important characters, the plays with two important component, important dictum. ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ there are two the concepts like destiny in character, the character destiny. This is very, very important. The character destiny and destiny is character. So that is the two terms that AC Bradley uses in his Shakespearean tragedy. What is that? Let me repeat the word again. It is AC Bradley says that in Shakespearean tragedy the character is destiny. ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅದು ದ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಇಸ್ ಡೆಸ್ಟಿನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅದನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಡೆ ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಡೆಸ್ಟಿನಿ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್. ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಇದು ಡೆಸ್ಟಿನಿ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಡೆಸ್ಟಿನಿ ಅಂತ ಅಂತಿದ್ರೆ ಅನ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ. ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಇಸ್ ಡೆಸ್ಟಿನಿ ಅಂತ ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ ಇಲ್ಲಿ AC Bradley ಪದ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಅ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ವಿತ್ ಅ ಫ್ಲೆಶ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಬ್ಲಡ್, ದ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಹೂ ಕಮಿಟ್ಸ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್. ನನಗೆ ಒಂದು ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕಮಿಟ್ ಸಮ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ಸ್, ಐ ಡೂ ಕಮಿಟ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೈ ಓನ್ ಅಮರ್ಷ್ಯ. ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರಾಜಿಕ್ ಫ್ಲಾ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ವಿದೌಟ್ ನೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಅವೇರ್ ಆಫ್ ಅವರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ವಿ ಡಿಡ್ ಸಮ್ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವಿ ಪೇಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಟ್. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಶೇಕ್ಸ್ಪಿಯರಿಯನ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಯಾಕೆ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಡೆಸ್ಟಿನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ? ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಬೆತ್ನ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಡೆಸ್ಟಿನಿ ಏನಾಗಿತ್ತು? What is the the character destiny? Because Macbeth, he's over ambitious. ಇವಾಗ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಈಸ್ ಡೆಸ್ಟಿನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅವನ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನ ಮಾಡದ ತಪ್ಪುಗಳಿಂದ ಹಿ ರೀಚಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಡೆಸ್ಟಿನಿ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, somebody tell you, hey, don't go, there is a snake, it will bite you, but we don't even mind. Let me just hold it. We just go there and try to hold it, and bitten by it, and you're dead. So that is a character is destiny. You have some hubris. That is a Greek term called. You have that the pride, arrogance, and that's very much impulsive in it. And if somebody asks you not to do that, despite you do it. For example, Othello's Othello's weakness is what? Othello, he's he. Can you just tell me what is Othello's weakness? Because he was suspicious. Because he suspect his wife Desdemona. Remember, he begs. I mean, he screams for handkerchief. Just show me the handkerchief that I gave you as a token of love and affection. But when Desdemona unable to produce it, he kills her. Remember, so he was very suspicious. And the King Lear, his weakness is he is a man of credulous. He easily believe people. His two daughters, remember, Regan and Goneril, the way they praised, and he gave the property. And whereas the Cordelia, who expresses her true love to her father, but King Lear was not ready to listen. In the same way, we have a Macbeth, because he was over ambitious, so he killed King Duncan. Remember, and so does Julius Caesar. And so every character, you know. He believes his friend, Julius Caesar. Here, AC Broadley, he talks about important four plays, that is, Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, and the Macbeth. So, if it is Hamlet, I told, what is Hamlet problem? Hamlet problem, it is to be or not to be. He's indecisive. He can't take a decision, isn't it? So the Hamlet problem is indecision, and then Othello's is suspicious and suspecting his wife, and King Lear, it is credulous, and Macbeth is overambitious. So because of their own follies, because of their own weakness, they created the character is destiny. Got the point? They did some mistake so that they led their own destiny. ಅವರ ಕೈಯಿಂದ ಅವರೇ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು ಅಂತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ದೇ ಸೇ, ದ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಇಸ್ ಡೆಸ್ಟಿನಿ. ದೇ ದೆಮ್ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಆರ್ ದ ರೂಟ್ ಕಾಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದೇರ್ ಓನ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. So AC Bradley, he coined the term the character is destiny when he talked about Shakespearean tragedies. And he also used another word, that is the destiny is character. What is destiny's character? So the condition is already predestined, for which you can come across in Greek tragedies. Because when you read especially Greek plays like Agamemnon and Oedipus Rex, in the beginning, the opening scene itself, the chorus will come and tell. So what happened? In the Greek plays itself, because when the chorus comes and talks about, he gives introduction about these Greek heroes, and here is a character, King Oedipus. Here is a character, King Agamemnon. This is will what happen. This is what happens in the life. So much before we come to know about the the ending of these characters in the play, and even the chorus themselves will tell in the beginning itself. So we know in the beginning that this is the tragedy is going to happen to this character. That is destiny's character. So already they are predestined. ಅದು ಮೊದಲೇ ಬರ್ದಿಟ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ ನೋಡಿ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ರಿಟನ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಡೆಸ್ಟಿನೀಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್. ಬಟ್ ನೌ AC Bradley, he is the one who please give us some short notes, please. I know what you can do is like, so our university notes itself is the best notes. So we all have because we ourselves we write notes in the universities, self-learning material, and they're the good notes. You can just make use of them, but make sure that while reading you always take down. ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಬರ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ಗಳು. You have to write and write and write, then you practice it. Okay, but anyhow you understand the narration. So here I must use the word, the AC Bradley said that the character is destiny. This means that the protagonist The character, the hero, the important character of a tragedy should have some weakness which brings about his fall. They have their own weakness, so they lead their destiny. Whereas here, sometime the hero of a tragedy suffer due to his unable to tackle the situation because so that for that the best examples are Shakespearean tragedies. Which are they? Hamlet, Othello, Macbeth, and then what is that? Yes, there are four: Hamlet and Othello, King Lear, and Macbeth. So these four plays will narrate one after another, and after that, sometime the hero of a tragedy suffer because he is unable to tackle the situation because of his weakness. He has some weakness, and we can give example from Shakespeare's plays. For example, Hamlet had the weakness of indecisiveness. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ತಕ್ಷಣವಾಗಿ. So Hamlet problem was indecisiveness, because indecisiveness in the sense he's not able to take because the Hamlet the weakness was indecisiveness because he was not able to take a decision whether to go or not, to be or not to be. Should I do it or not? So he was not firm about his decision, and he's not taking a proper decision. So Hamlet had the weakness of indecisiveness, and then he faces such a situation that his indecisiveness becomes the cause of his tragic fall. That is called catastrophe. His indecisiveness, its weakness, catastrophe. If you place Hamlet in place of Othello or Othello in place of Hamlet, there would be no tragedy. So this character, Othello in a way, he's the true tragic hero, and Hamlet in a way, he's a true tragic hero. So all this character, they have their own, the tragic weakness. So that's what this. I mean, A.C. Bradley he talks about in his you know. This play. And after that, A.C. Bradley says that in Shakespearean tragedy, the character is destiny. As I described, this means that the hero of Shakespeare tragedy has some tragic flaw which brings about his catastrophe. Okay, who is this? People are saying entertain people. He was a theater actor. What is this? All this Srija Shri? You are sending all not related information. What do you mean by this? He was a theatre actor. He was not, Othello or a Shakespeare. I don't know in what sense you are saying that. Okay, so some of you said that King Lear is also the best example. Yes, King Lear is also best example for this tragedies. And now, A.C. Bradley's he described and example for Hamlet. I told you is indecisiveness, and Othello is a jealousy or a suspicious. So Othello he had this problem, and the Macbeth is over ambitious, and the Brutus is too good for his trusty everyone. So he also talks about the Brutus, who is also he trusts everybody. So that is his problem. So this is the small information about this character. So now what I'll do tomorrow, I'll give you the brief introduction about all this character. I mean all the four plays and how he analyzes Hamlet and how he takes up this Othello, King Lear, and the Macbeth plays and I'll discuss tomorrow. So now I'm going to stop. If you have any question, you can just ask one or two, so that tomorrow probably in the morning session I take up this text and this as well as another text. There are three four texts that's I have to teach Macbeth the entire text in the Shakespearean paper. Macbeth is I'm going to teach Macbeth. That exclusive text I'll teach once I put an end to this AC Bradley's criticism. After there is another text called Oedipus Rex. I also take up the text. So if you have now any text, you can ask me, so that tomorrow I try to put an end to this A.C. Bradley's criticism. I discuss these four important plays, and I'll put an end to it. I hope, dear students, somehow you are getting some sort of information towards your examination. You're gaining knowledge, I believe. Hope you're gaining knowledge. And I tried my best to give you the comprehensive picture, the holistic, the picture for the for your exam point of view. I hope you make use of for it and keep studying. That's the only thing which I always talk about. Yes, keep studying. Some of you say the SLM is the best one, and yes, keep reading and make use of self study, because the SLM replaces the faculties, because we have written this SLM in an interactive mode, in a dual mode, as though you are talking to our faculties. So in that mode, and keep reading, and while keep reading, you can also jot down some points, make notes, and prepare for the exam. So I stop the session, and we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, I have your class, and we'll see you then. Okay. Thank you, people. If there are no questions, I just leave the session.